Titus himself then became emperor. Since childhood, Titus had been a part of the highest echelon of Roman society. He was at his father's side in Judea. And when Vespasian was sent to Alexandria to pursue his bid to be emperor, Titus took command, conducting the siege of Jerusalem late in AD 70, the 9th of Av. He then returned to Rome to aid his father in government until 79, when he became emperor under his father Titus. Titus reigned merely 2 years before his own death. Two major events of his reign occurred: the eruption of Mount Vesuvius and the inauguration of the Colosseum in Rome. When Titus was ready to open the ceremonies for the marvelous Colosseum, he called in the engineer, the designer of the Colosseum, one of the great wonders of that world, still standing today. And the engineer, designer, builder said to Emperor Titus, your Colosseum is ready for the festivities, ready for the inauguration. What do you plan to do with your marvelous Colosseum? Titus, who also burned the temple, Titus said, well, the gladiators will fight here. But most of all, I had you build certain dungeon cages for the wild beast, because I want the Christians and as many Jews as possible to be massacred here. And the engineer said, but Emperor, I too am a Christian. And he was among the first to be massacred in the marvelous Colosseum that he had built. I ask you a question. Was it worth it? Was it worth it for that engineer to reveal that he was a Christian and to lose his life? Why, yes. Yes. There's a special place for the martyrs. And he was a loyal, patriotic citizen of Rome. But in the midst of that, he couldn't deny his allegiance to the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. We have a Titus coin. We have Domitian, coin struck in Rome. There's not a lot to be said about him. This aureus was struck, not a lot. Now let's encounter Caesar Augustus. We give credit to Wikipedia for all of this information. He actually took the throne, or took the leadership, 44 BC at the murder of his great uncle, and he was not involved in that. He, in fact, persecuted and prosecuted those who were involved in it, but he became actual emperor by title in 27 BC and reigned until 1480, 40 solid years. This is information that you have about his birth, where he's buried in the mausoleum of Augustus in Rome. Talks about his family, his imperial dynasties. All of that is a matter of history, but we can learn it. Augustus, the Latin Emperor Caesar Divi Filius Augustus, 23rd September 63 BC was his birth, and it goes through his Roman statesmanship, and in your lesson it tells about his early life. He was born Gaius Octavius, but then he took on the name Julius Caesar because Julius Caesar adopted him, and that was standard. And then, along with Mark Antony and Marcius Lepidus, he formed the second triumvirate to defeat assassins of Caesar. Following this victory, that triumvirate lasted a few years, triumvirate, and ultimately Caesar Augustus was victorious. He dramatically enlarged the empire, etc. All of that is of great interest. He reformed the Roman system of taxation, established a postal system. That's very important for the gospel to later be delivered. The Greeks did the same in other parts of the world, but the Roman world established postal system, Praetorian Guard, a police and firefighting service, courier system, and a network of roads. All of that to help. They thought they were building it for the glory of Rome. But do you realize that in the life of the Apostle Paul, one convert, every city in the Asian world every city heard the gospel of Jesus Christ in the life of one man. That's absolutely astounding. Augustus died in 1480, at the age of 75, probably from natural causes. But a moment ago I said it wasn't a lot of fun to be a Caesar. However, there were unconfirmed rumors that his wife, Livia, poisoned him. And that is the bust of Livia. He was succeeded as emperor by his adopted son, Tiberius. He was given a number of names throughout his life. He took upon himself a number of names. He was not born Caesar Augustus. He was born Gaius Octavius to an old and wealthy equestrian family. And then Julius Caesar, his great uncle, named him his heir. So then he had to take the name. So he was Octavius Julius Caesar. And later he took names. He was the first emperor who, after annexing a number of countries, he reformed Rome to a great degree. And so here are his names. He received his birth name, Octavius, was added to that phoneme. Gaius Julius Caesar. I said Octavius, but it was Gaius. Then Gaius Julius Caesar Divi Filius. That means son of the divine. And then Interpreter, that's what the soldiers call the conquering commander. Interpretor Caesar Divi Filius from 38 BC. He adopted those names. And finally, Commander Caesar, son of the divine.